So, thanks for joining me. And so I got to tell you, you might find this funny or not. You may not find this funny. I've been talking to some people and they're like, oh, well, who's your next guest? And I go, well, it's Zack Buttram. And they're like, well, who's that? And I go, well, did you see Super Size Me 2? And they always go, there's a 2? Like every time. And so I have to explain to them kind of the story of the second film because no one's seen it. And a lot of people actually aren't even aware it's out there. So, which I think is kind of interesting because when we were talking earlier, you were telling me like that was part of the issue that it never really came out. So for those who don't know, your family farm was the chicken farm that Morgan Spurlock used in Super Size Me 2. He worked with you guys to raise chickens. Accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we've done is we taught him how to raise chickens.
What's the name of the farm? Is it Buttram Families?
So that one was actually, when it was in operation, it was called W.J. Buttram Farms because it was my granddad. And then you know how family farms, everything eventually rolls downhill.
Yeah.
And I guess it was like a lease, the way we did it. They leased that one house that the chickens were grew in.
Mm-hmm.
And so Morgan named it Morganic Farms for that time. So that's the name of the farm during the production stages of everything.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie where he like goes out and he hangs the sign and he makes a big deal out of it. And now I've just for full disclosure, I've never met Morgan. I feel like I may have run into him at a party once, but like in LA, it's like that doesn't mean anything. So like I have no connection to Morgan. I don't know him. I don't know anybody who works with him. So just throwing that out there. So, but I was a fan of the movie the first time I saw it, even well before you and I ever talked. So I saw it a long time ago. And so how did they approach you? Did they just get you guys out of a book or randomness? How did you guys get hooked up? Do you know?
All right. So I asked that exact question to the group of girls that came down and interviewed me and Dad. So what they done, they started looking for the farmers with the loudest voice. So Dad has always been really outspoken about how they were being mistreated by the poultry companies, trying to get better treatment for the farmers and more money. And so his name just kind of pops up if you started searching stuff. So they interviewed, I think, 2 other farmers, and then they came to us and they had 2 more lined up. And when they got there, they went and interviewed Dad. And then we all went out to eat lunch, and I went with them on that time. They thought I was just a worker on the farm because I was building a 2-story treehouse for all the grandkids for Mom and Dad. And they were just amazed that we built everything on our own on our farm.
Oh, those LA types don't know. They don't know. Oh, he's from New York, though. Those city folk don't know that you can build stuff.
These girls, they were from New York. One of them was, I think one of them was from Atlanta that just picked them up and showed them around. But while we're eating lunch and we're having just random conversations, she just picks up the phone and calls Morgan or somebody and says, we found our farmers.
Okay.
And so they settled on us and didn't even interview the rest of them.
Okay. So I got to ask, though, because of the nature of the movie, where were you guys eating? Do you remember?
It was just a James's barbecue. It's a local barbecue.
I just
here.
think it'd be funny if it was like McDonald's or Burger King or something, you know.
You
guys had
they will not, that whole production crew would not eat anywhere that was a chain restaurant. While they were filming, we would find small mom and pops for them, tell them where to go. They would call and get food and bring it in every day. But it was always, it had to be like made in-house stuff, no fast food chain style.
How did they fit in? How long were they there working with you guys?
So right at 6 weeks in
6
chicken.
weeks. Okay. I'm guessing they hotels or they got places to stay or?
No, they just come down and would film 1 or 2 days max. That was it.
Okay.
And then, excuse me. I ended up doing a whole lot of the camera footage for them. Like we set cameras up in the chicken houses and I knew enough and they liked the way I done it the first day because I built most of the stuff to set the camera equipment on. And they're like, dang, you need to kind of change your roles. And I'm like, no, you just never met a farm kid before. I'm a true jack of all trades. That's just what we do.
And then you became a filmmaker.
Yeah. They were supposed to give me credit in that movie for doing part of the camera operations. They didn't. I was so pissed when I watched the end credits. I was like, oh, they screwed me.
No, that's horrible. Well, that's probably the least of the problems that came out of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Small potatoes.
so 6 weeks. This whole process goes through. In the film, you see the chickens raised, and then he has this emotional moment when they go off to market, and he's like, "Is this?" I feel it's this whole thing in the movie where he's like, "I'm going to kill my creation." So what happens after those 6 weeks? Like in the film, though, there were problems that were starting, and there were issues that came up during that 6 weeks, right? So
No,
yeah.
no issues came up during that 6 weeks. That's where this stuff gets interesting.
Oh, okay.
So that 6 weeks is just the process from the baby chickens till they were hauled off. So then they get hauled off and go up to Kentucky to the processing plant that they found that would actually process those chickens for us. Or not, well, or just slaughter them and get them ready to go to the restaurant.
To the restaurant.
So
Okay.
we get called up to Ohio for the opening of the restaurant. So we ended up staying up there like 4 or 5 days while they were filming that whole section of the opening and feeding everybody. And we were on news up there. That's when everything went down. So that would have been 9 or 10 weeks into it, because there was like a pretty good delay. I think it was in September, possibly.
Yeah.
But they seen an interview where we was up there. Then when Mom got home, there was messages left on her answer machine that was like, "We need to talk to you about what your husband and son are doing."
So let's try it. We'll address that without diving into it. So basically, you guys ran into a situation where, let me see if I can accurately portray this. You tell me how good I do. The poultry industry pushed back very hard. That's an understatement to the nth degree, I think.
Yes.
And legal issues, job issues, farm issues. I mean, you name it. You guys had problems. So there's so much to unpack here carefully.
Yeah.
Let's start with the production. What did Morgan and the production and all the, let's call it Hollywood for lack of a better term, like, because that's what it is. Even though it was a documentary, it was definitely entertainment. What was their reaction to your situation or to when that happened?
So they were in shock, like we were. They were like, the nerve that these people have, because they called my mom with her own 2-house farm and contract in her name. Mm-hmm. Dad didn't have a farm running nowhere. I didn't have a farm running anywhere. I've never had a contract for chickens in my name. But they were trying to hold her accountable for us helping somebody else do something with chickens.
They were just trying to take down whoever they could take down, it sounds like. Is that?
Yeah, they don't want nobody speaking out against them and exposing anything they're doing.
Okay.
And that film was supposed to be our way of telling that. And it didn't start out that way. It started out, it was Morgan's just going to do a sequel to Super Size Me 2. Mm-hmm. But when he come and met us and then that happened, then it changed the way that they edited that film out.
Right.
Because they wanted to help share our story more at that point in time. And it came less about Morgan, more about us, I guess.
It does. In the end, it does become about kind of the plight of the farmer, kind of situation. So yeah, the movie came out and your guys' story came out and everything was a-okay, right?
No,
yeah, we both know that's not true. So
it was, I think we filmed in 2016 and everything was done. And then when we went to Canada for the Toronto International Film Festival. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask my wife. She's the one with all the dates. So it was in 2017 when we went to Canada in September. And that's the first time that we had actually seen the movie ourselves.
Okay.
So we're up there, red carpet, walking out, having the time of my life.
And if I remember correctly, this is when you met Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, which was like one of your huge. Yeah. Like, you're grinning right now. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. Those of you who don't know, Zach is a big comic book fan. He's wearing a Wolverine shirt. You can't see it. I'm wearing my Green Lantern shirt just to camaraderie with him. So this whole interview at some point may just turn into a discussion about comic books. Who knows?
Yeah, no telling.
But so you're having a great time. You're at TIFF. You're at you're the meeting the Winter Soldier. You're about to see yourself on screen. What was your reaction to the movie when you saw it for the first time?
So there were several times that I got extremely emotional, just broke down, because I wasn't expecting some of that to be portrayed the way it was, because it was true. And so that was kind of unique for me. I don't know. It's hard to describe seeing yourself on something. It's so weird.
It is a weird film. I've been in a few films, and it's still I see myself, and you're kind of like, ooh, that's cool.
Exactly.
That's what I look like, 20 feet tall.
But I hate hearing myself. Like,
we all do. Everybody does.
Oh yeah, I just didn't realize how heavy my accent was.
Yeah, it's all good. So you saw the first time, you had the reaction. So where are we in connection to the Me Too situation? When there was a lot of hype right then around everything. And so the next thing we find out is, hey, in January, we got the spotlight special for the Sundance Film Festival in Salt Lake City. And so I'm like, oh, that's pretty sweet. Gonna get to meet a whole lot more people, whole new experience, same thing. And me and my wife going skiing for the first time ever. So that was the plan. And then that Me Too movement thing comes out where Morgan says what he said, or tweeted what he tweeted. And I'd be damned if they didn't just throw him completely under the bus. Oh, they did. So he had, if I remember correctly, and one thing you've probably learned now is there's reality, then there's entertainment industry, and the truth is somewhere in between. He had a production distribution deal. The movie was set to be released, and he lost the deal, I believe, is the way that I heard it went down. And then eventually they were able to hobble together some kind of distribution deal, but it was nothing like what they had planned. So basically it got just dumped.
Oh, they put it on a shelf as punishment.
Yeah, they did. Like he lost his production company. He mea culpa'd everything. He literally, I was looking around, like he may be working on something now, but at least publicly on the books, he has nothing. Like there's places you can go, IMDb, and different places you can go to see what's in production. He has nothing. So, I don't know, but that's a whole other discussion. Although, let's talk about that. So this happened. This is something out of your control. You can't, you're hanging with the Winter Soldier. You're going skiing with and I use your terms from Instagram, smoking wife is I saw that post. You're having a great time. And then suddenly this thing happens to you that is out of your control. It has nothing to do with anything you've done. You just are along for the ride. You have done what's been asked of you. You've been a good person. You've done everything. And then bam. What was your reaction to that?
Dumbstruck.
Yeah.
We didn't understand. We're in a whole new world, basically. I mean, just simple farm people from Northeast Alabama, where we're all pretty much just nothing but rednecks, getting swept away into all this. And then I see that tweet, and it blows up pretty fast. I'm like, oh God, what is fixing to happen? And then we get a phone call from one of the friends on the production crew. They're like, Sundance, all that stuff's done. It's over. We don't know what's happened. They're squalling because they're losing their jobs. And like, I'm just sitting here like, dang, what do you do? Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm speechless right now because it was kind of a weird ordeal. But the bad thing about it is because it was the Me Too movement, and he was trying to come clean about stuff from way in the past and wanted to get it out and try to fix himself, going into rehab to get off being an alcoholic. And he ends up, we've been in touch after the fact, after the rehab and all that, because, the movie did come out. We end up in New York doing interviews with him. Same person, but you could tell like the alcohol was gone. Any of the parties we went to while we were up there or dinners, he just drank water. Like he contained himself around that crowd. You know, everybody's drinking everywhere on most of those kind of when films come out and you got groups together, celebratory.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, they threw him under that bus on that, but they destroyed my mom at the same time because none of our story got told at the time it needed to. And so we lost all the momentum for everything to be able to fight the good fight and try to, not just us, but all farmers across the US, anybody in the poultry industry had something to gain from this message getting out to the US and the American people understanding what was happening. Because when the people that are buying your product get mad because you're mistreating people, you have to fix stuff quickly.
Yeah. You missed out on the court of public opinion wasn't able to look at what was going on. You counted on that.
Yep.
Like, and in the movie, you see there's a whole thing where they talk about the my term, like the tournament, the way that they kind of play different farmers against each other, and also, you know, there's these intangibles about how much you're going to get paid for the chickens and which chickens you get and do you get the best quality, and there's it's any other industry would be like no way, we're not going to do that, we were not going to allow this. But a lot of times you guys at family farm, you're dealing with low, you know, you're not making a lot, every dollar counts, you're dealing with things, you know, weather and other things that just affect your situation, you know. It's now your dad, this had to be just destructive on him too, because your dad, now this is just so we clarification, it's a generational farm. How many generations?
So the poultry was started with my granddad.
Okay.
So that would put me being third generation on poultry.
Okay.
But we've been farming probably five. I'd be the fifth generation.
So we're going back to what, the 1800s?
Maybe.
Almost?
Yeah. Megan, you got any good math? Tell me kind of about when that was. Probably early 19.
Earlier. Well, still, that's 100. 100 years. That's
No, it could have been at 1800s then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't keep up with dates for some reason. I just know great so and so that looks just like me, and it's kind of weird. But
I just did an interview with a historian, so maybe my head is still in the in that whole thing. So we need a number. So how did your dad take it? And I mean, it's pretty obvious it couldn't have been good. Couldn't have been pretty.
So, he had a message he wanted to get out, and it stopped that. And that's a big blow when you're making forward progress and all of a sudden you're not. But some of the ramifications that came out after the fact, like the way that I got done, completely blackballed, so that I can't even go into any more farming industry related stuff. I can't even go clean out chicken houses or set slats for other farmers because I got told they told them that I was a biosecurity risk, not to let me back on their farm. And I can't get nobody that'll stand up and say that in front of court officials or anything, because they can't do that.
Yeah.
But they ruined, I guess I had 5 different, we'll just call them side hustles, because it was just 5 different sources of income I had outside of our family farm. All of them got pulled at one time. No longer allowed to go on these farms because the farmers were afraid to let me on. If the company found out, they would be retaliated against for just having me there doing a job, even though I was the better candidate to do that job. I was faster and cheaper than anybody else.
So it's not even just that there's a fear. There's a fear around you. People don't want to be associated with you because they don't know how someone else would see it.
Yep.
That's awful, because that's an intangible. So has Morgan ever has he ever apologized, or has he ever brought it up with you and just said, look, has he ever commented on the situation?
It's been a while, and if he had, I'll be honest, I don't remember the conversation.
Yeah.
But he was able to get the movie out through Samuel Golan Productions. They picked it up, who released it everywhere, and he got us up to New York. And so we were up there for a week doing interviews everywhere, which was, again, is a whole nother whirlwind of Hollywood, I guess you'll call it at that point in time too, because we're going around. We did a lot of Sirius XM radio shows. I think we did the Build series. I think you checked it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was fun again, this whole winding down and meeting new people, getting to talk, share their story. Because he'd been working the whole time trying to get it out. Because he's like, I know y'all need this. And then, there was like, I think a GoFundMe account that got started for us. And we don't know what happened to that. Somebody started it, and then it just, I don't know how much money it raised or anything, but then it was just like disappeared and gone.
Oh.
We have no idea anything about it. It was the weirdest thing ever. Because like Dad is a real proud individual anyways, doesn't want to accept any kind of handout from anybody. But his farm's dried up to the point like where I've left the farm now. I'm working just a normal job. I'm a construction manager building a resort down here 30 minutes from home.
Yeah.
And so Dad's still trying. He's got cows, and my sister, she's got her own cows on another farm. And so they kind of co-op together to try to share equipment and still get the job done. Yeah. But she called me yesterday, wanted to know how much I make a day, and if I could call in sick and she'd pay me out of pocket to come in and do the hay baling for them. And I was like, I wish I could, but like, I'm the boss down here. I can't leave or these guys won't do nothing. I've got responsibilities here now. Yeah. And so it's like all new set of problems you never would imagine, because if this hadn't happened the way it did, I would still be on the farm. We'd be making enough money where I didn't have to go find a job. Yeah. And my son would have the opportunity to become a 6th generation family farmer. And like, he doesn't have that now.
We were talking earlier, and we talked about this a little bit, about how you guys are like collateral damage of the Me Too movement in a way. Mm-hmm. Because something, and we mentioned it a little bit ago, it's like something happened and Morgan stepped up, and that's a whole other discussion. If somebody wants to, talk about, was he treated fairly? Was he not treated fairly? Did he take too much responsibility, not enough responsibility, whatever, like that's a whole other thing. But by people going after him and whatever happened to him, there were reverberations that went out that affected your entire family.
Yeah, it destroyed her livelihood.
Yeah. So I mean, that's such a, again, that's that whole situation that we touched on, where it's like something out of your control. This moral movement has more victims, creates more victims, as in addition to the victims that were already there. I'm not saying that what Morgan did was right, and I'm not saying that the people that he had interactions with were wrong in any way. That's a whole thing. But we have to take responsibility for the fact that there are other people who get caught up in this who it's not their fault, and you and your family and your son and all of that, that's got to be hard to balance that, is it?
Yeah. So I don't blame Morgan. So not entirely. Like, yeah, sometimes maybe it's better he should have just kept his mouth shut and everything would have worked out better. But that makes me feel kind of like a little selfish at the same time. I'm glad he did what he did. The 2 people I think he discussed had wronged, I hope he made up with them. They're the ones that could hold him accountable for whatever they wanted to, because it was directed at them. That's who should have been doing anything that needed to be done to Morgan and them in discussions to make stuff right. Mm-hmm. But when I don't want to say that American people threw him under the bus, but every like production company and everybody else, they blackballed him at that time. So they brought him into my world, and what happened, it just destroyed everybody at that time. So I don't know, maybe things happen for a reason, and maybe it's better off that we ended up the way we ended up.
Well, it's like if you watch, it happens every once in a while. There's some movie where there's an actor who gets into trouble for something, and then suddenly that movie gets thrown under the rug, or they'll even recast him. And that doesn't affect the people who worked on the film, because they got paid. Like the from the director down to the grips to the cameraman, they're done. They did their job. They're that's fine. but this is a documentary that's about real people. So when that happens, there's a reverberation, and that's, affected your family. And I'm sure there's other people. I'm curious too, like when you went to the Holy Chicken, the actual restaurant, how long did it last? It, like, they closed it, was it right before COVID or?
All right. So the one that's in the movie,
Uh-huh.
just a pop up. We only grew 2,500 chickens. So we only had 2,500 chickens we could feed to everybody. Because
Limited edition. It's like a gold covered comic book. There's only 2,500 of them.
And it was originally just a movie. But apparently investors came out of the woodworks and were like, oh my God, this is an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Because, it was like a farm to table idea, and also like a buy local. Like the bread for that restaurant, they found the closest local bakery they could find and made the bread for the sandwiches. And the same thing with the sodas. I think they had a ginger beer and a root beer in that restaurant because that was the closest soda company that was not a name brand that could supply it. So if you spent your money there, it was going right back into the surrounding communities. It's an awesome idea, and that's what they started buying into it.
Yeah.
So movie comes out, blah, 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 blah. We get through all that. We were scheduled to have a restaurant opening up of 2020 in Ohio. And once it got off the ground running, there's 4 more going up around it. And the first one was going to open back up, I believe, in Columbus. And then the COVID started coming out. And then when the restaurant started closing, they're like, oh no, this is a bad time.
Yeah.
Boosh. And everybody left. And apparently it just died at that point in time. So I don't know if it could be revived or whatever. But it was part of our, like, I don't want to call it a promise because there was never nothing on paper. But Morgan was like, we're doing this. Y'all are a big part of this. This is going to help everybody out because we want y'all involved. And we didn't know what our involvement was. Maybe our farm was going to open back up and supply several different holy chickens around here that we were going to help oversee and be founding members of this whole thing.
Yeah. Or they're just telling the story, or, working for healthier environment and the industry. So here's the question. How were the sandwiches?
Oh my God.
Were they good?
They were good.
They looked good.
Maybe, come.
Bring her on. This is a smoking wife, apparently.
Come on.
That I've heard so much about.
Eric's the only one that will see you. They will not use video.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi. So I hear the sandwiches were good.
They were delicious.
They were. Everything that you hoped.
So everything that you hoped.
Oh yeah, and more.
Yeah. Even with that, didn't they paint on the
char marks? The char grilled.
That was one of the things that was in the movie that was like really interesting. You always heard these stories, but then to actually see them, they were like, "Oh yeah, here's the char mark. We just painted on."
Yeah. So yeah, like here's what set that one apart. So we had that chicken, and it's considered artisanal because they brine in house, not like a normal fast casual restaurant. So they took chicken, just raw chicken, let it soak in a brine like a marinade to flavor it, get everything right, tenderize it. Then the batter was made in house. Everything was done right there, and then put on. The slaw was all made in house. We had fried green beans, but they didn't say the F word, so it was air crisped green bean. They were amazing. They were so much better than French fries. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they were any healthier, but it sounds better.
It looked good. Like I'm not a big fast food person. I don't really. Chicken's not one of my favorite things. But when I saw it, I was like, I would eat here. I'm like, this place looks good. The food looked good. You said it tasted good. So since I got you, since I've got your smoke, and I keep saying smoking wife, and you put it on Instagram, so it's all your fault now. When he told you about everything, I'm sure you're one of the first people he told. Mm-hmm. What was your reaction?
Shocked. I remember when I was maybe 14, I had watched Morgan's first movie, Super Size Me, with my sister, and I was 14. It didn't really matter to me much. Yeah. And then knowing who he was at that time, then it was a shock. It was just a big change, not something. Now, here's the problem. Here's the thing. It's not a problem. Weird things happen to him.
I'm learning that.
I mean, like it's the craziest thing. If I mean, movie comes out, they're gonna pick him, or so it's just it was neat.
Okay, but let's discuss one other important thing though. He is an off-roader. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Oh yeah.
And he has, and forgive me, I'm not up on all my terms. I would say razor, but I know it's not a razor.
Outrageous.
It's what is it?
So I have a Honda Talon X4.
And how is it decorated?
It has an Iron Man wrap on it with each of our names on our own door. So each of my kids have their name on their door. So
And how do you feel about that?
I'm in it every time he is, unless he kicks me out.
Why don't you have your own?
Well, because I can't afford it.
That's supersize me 3. You'll get you'll get your own. So did you spend, was that your money from the movie that you used that, or that was that's just your baby? That
I didn't get nobody. Mom and
did
dad.
you not get any? You didn't get anything from the film?
So mom and dad gave me some money for handling all the chickens, so they didn't have to. So dad just showed up he's just a consultant. So he just showed up on the days we were filming, same as Morgan, like pretty for the camera. And then I've been out there killing myself every day. I had to hand feed these chickens like you did when they first started. I couldn't even use the equipment that was in there. I'm toting bags of feed and dump it every day, in there 5 different times a day doing everything. And so I think, was it $2,500? Yeah, I got $2,500.
And wait, so how long have you been married?
March will be 10 years. We've been together for
10 years. And how long ago was it? 2016? So you guys have been married 4 or 5 years around about that time. So
I was pregnant with our second child during.
Okay, so he's doing this, working with the chickens in front of the cameras, being Steven Spielberg Jr. and you're over there pregnant, watching this. Like, what? Come on, you rolled your eyes at him a couple times and just been like
a few times maybe.
Okay. And I know they did your makeup. They had to, even for a documentary.
Never.
Really?
Not once.
Your
so now,
aren't that good, dude.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That was several years ago. I've been stressed out and depressed and everything else. Like, life gets to you. But so dad got makeup. When we would go do interviews, he would get some makeup. They come up to me and be like, well, dang, if you just ain't camera ready, we don't know what it is. And I was like, okay. So like, I really want to have that picture from the build series, like blowed up and put in my house at some point in time, because that's a good memory there. Dad had to have makeup. Morgan had to have makeup. And then I'm just sitting here all nonchalant, like, I'm ready.
Mr. Male Model over here.
Wish.
Tony Stark waiting for his close-up.
Oh my God. I've got that attitude at some point in time. It comes
I
out.
could see that. I could see that in there.
If I just had the money to go with it, I'd be rolling. I'd have my own Iron Man suit.
That's always the way.
Damn.
So as the observer, so I'm gonna ask her, but you can tell her whether or not, were there times that he was having fun? Like other than the moment, like what did you see that you're like, you know what, he's really enjoying this. He's really in his element.
During the filming, getting to hang out with the crew, he developed some pretty tight friendships really quick with them. We would go, if we ever went out to eat with them, that was fun. He feeds off of people, any different people, he's going to talk to them, he's going to learn about them, he's going to have different conversations. That aspect, I could see that he was having a lot of fun. I think the idea of it for him was fun. The aftermath of it, I mean, it took us to places that we had never been together. It gave us new experiences as a couple that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So I think that was a lot of the fun times that came with it. Did
it make you tighter as a couple? Like, did it bring you guys together? I don't want to dive into any personal stuff, but I would think this is one of those situations that could either make you guys a better team working together, or it could really go the other way.
It didn't really affect our marriage either way. In my opinion, I mean,
I think I feel like we constantly get closer. Like, as the longer we're married,
I say it didn't affect it negatively.
Yeah, it's just always trying to work forward and both of us try to be better people every day.
Yeah.
So our marriage always gets better. And then our kids, that's a whole new learning curve when you have kids. Things change. And we had Sawyer at that point in time, and she was pregnant with Mila Kate. And so I was away a little more. That part was probably stressful on her because I was gone. Yeah. She's pregnant and got a 1.5 or 2-year-old.
But now I can't say that I wasn't rooting for him, because good that would come to him would come to us as a family. And so, it was.
Oh, she got to have some good times. So when we went to Canada, we leave out. We don't get to go the night with mom and dad early because we're leaving on our daughter's first birthday.
I was miserable.
We missed her first birthday.
On the plane, I was miserable. We had her party.
We seen her. Yeah, we did have her party before, but
I made us stay at my mom's. My mom and dad kept them while we were gone. So I made us stay at my mom's that night, wake up at 3:00 in the morning, kiss her on her birthday, and then we hit the road to Atlanta.
To catch a plane.
Yeah, but he got to meet the Winter Soldier.
That was pretty cool.
Who else did we meet going up there?
Margot Robbie was there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Forgot. In the same room with us while Bucky was in there. They were in, what movie was it?
I can't remember.
They did the Tanya Harding movie together.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, they were great in that. That was wow. So you got to meet Harley Quinn. You got to meet the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And that's it?
No, what's the girl from The Village? The M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Bryce Howard Dallas.
Skinny blonde?
Yeah.
Probably her. I'm horrible with
names. She's in the new Jurassic Park movies.
Maybe.
I don't know.
No?
I don't think so. Maybe it's the
Oh, well.
Oh,
it made quite the impression on you, apparently.
Oh, yes.
You're like, forget it. I met Margot Robbie.
I'm up here for my own movie, so we're equal.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm sure there's some red carpet photos of you out there. Just like, look at me.
I think there's only one. But it was a group picture with me and Megan and mom and dad and Morgan.
I may have to dive in and see if I can find that. So, how bad is his comic book obsession?
I mean, he's kind of introduced. Well, we started dating in 2006, and so I guess the first Iron Man came out 2007, I guess, or 2008. I think it was 2008. After that, I was hooked, and so the only money we spend in the theaters is to go see Marvel movies.
Venom comes out tomorrow night.
So it's a pretty tight obsession, I guess.
Were you into them before?
Me?
No. I'm asking. Oh. Was he into them before, or was it just with the movies starting? Were you into them before the movies, or did you?
Yeah, I grew up. On it. Like I had comic books when I was a kid, and then X-Men was like the big cartoon to watch.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That. So seen all of those, all the Iron Mans that was out. I don't know, just one of them things.
I just remember in the movie, you like every time you wander out, you've got like a Captain America shirt on, and then you come out another time, you got another comic book shirt on. My first reaction is like, how they getting away with that without like rights issues? I'm like, oh, I guess because there's a whole legal thing about it. Like when you're filming, a lot of times they call it Greeking. I don't know if they told you about that, but like you have to get rid of a logo or whatever. But I was like, wow, man, awesome. Let's get some more geeks out there. That's amazing. Why Marvel, not DC though? Why? What's the lack of love for my DC boys here?
I got a Flash shirt too.
Okay, all right, just equal representation.
I just happen to find more Marvel stuff than I do DC. Like I'm digging the Green Lantern shirt. If I could find that one, I would own one.
It keeps me honest because I always remember. Failure is always a possibility.
Hey, if you ain't failing, you ain't trying.
Hey, that's for sure.
Wise words.
So what did you So coming out of this, I mean, you're still dealing with some of the stuff. There's still some other issues that are going to go on, hopefully not too much longer, but what have you learned? Like, what did you take out of this? Both of you, actually. That's an interesting question. Like, looking back at it, what is the lesson that you've learned?
The
Or
lesson,
have you? I mean, maybe there is no lesson.
I guess it's just life in general. I think he had mentioned it earlier. Think everything's going to happen for a reason. And you can let it bring you down. You can dwell on it, or you can grow from it. And I think this had the possibility to be a growing experience for everybody who was involved in it. On my side, I was more emotionally involved in it, obviously, because I wasn't a part of the movie or anything like that. But just seeing how it affected him and his parents and just our family in general, you start to think about things a little differently. And I try to stay more positive thinking about things. And so yeah, I just think it was somewhat of a growing experience.
Yeah.
The aftermath of it.
Zach, you?
I mean, if somebody called me today and was like, hey, we're thinking about doing some of this, would you like to be involved in this other documentary or new film thing? And it was going to cost me my job I got now, I'd probably throw my job away.
Really?
Dude, I don't care. I'm always just looking for a good time, because if you turn something down, you never know.
We would never win anything on a game show because he would constantly keep going.
Yeah. I'll risk it all.
He wouldn't call a friend. He'd be just, I can do this.
I knew it.
So it's interesting what you said about the learning experience. You guys sound very positive about it. Were there any days when you were just like, oh my God, how are we going to get through this?
Not really. And that's really just my personality too. Like, I don't worry about money ever, because out here, I've got a lot of skills. If I need some money, all I got to do is make a phone call. Somebody needs something fixed, I can just go fix it, and I'm good. I always just been able to make money.
Yeah.
So, most of any argument or problem that comes up, that's usually around money. So Megan's a teacher, job security galore, and insurance. So we don't have to worry about either one of those two main things. And then our house was paid for at the time. I'd bought a foreclosure cheap and fixed it up. So we didn't have we're probably the only 25-year-old newlyweds that didn't have a house payment or vehicle payments. We were just living and enjoying life. So not a lot of stress there to worry about, but I don't know.
It's incredible the way you guys are coming out of it, though. It really is. It could have been a lot of people, and then going into COVID and all of that. I mean, a lot of people just been like throwing their hands up and just be like, why is this happening to me? What did I do?
So now on that note,
yeah,
COVID might have been some of the best times that we've had.
We had time to.
How?
Well, okay, now
that side by side, that Honda Talon.
We didn't have a baby. We didn't buy a house. We bought a Talon, and that was our COVID baby. And so, we did. We had that time. I had to do my work from home. We still had some virtual classes and meetings and that kind of stuff. And the way that he worked at the time, he would get a job done. Some days he can make more money than I did in a whole month in one day. And so, that's not all the time, obviously, but we used that time to get closer as a family. I mean, the Talon has all four of our names on it. It's not just something for me and him, and that's something that's important to us. And I go back to the film and everything that could have happened. Yeah, that could have been pretty sweet, but I see where we're at now.
Yeah, and
I'm not disappointed at all.
No, you guys are in. You told me once how big the town is where you live. How many people are in the town?
The town I teach in is right under 10,000.
10,000. So county is like in your county, it's a pretty rural area.
It's very
yeah.
rural, yeah.
Our stop signs
Where
say
we
whoa.
But
One red light in Geraldine.
oh, you got the one red light town.
Yes. Yes.
I've been through towns like that. I try to stay a little bit bigger, I will admit, but I've been there. I worked in Oklahoma for a while, so I kind of feel that. You had told me something about how things kind of reverberate through the town. Has the town been supportive?
I don't know. Half of them don't even know about it. Like Facebook friends seen it. Everybody's usually pretty supportive on Facebook. They was like, "Oh, it's awesome. I knew you'd go somewhere, do something with your life outside of this crappy town." You know, the stuff like teachers from school. They were like, "I knew you were going places." Joke's on you. It was just a one-time thing.
We came back.
But you got the experience. It's like you were kind of saying, it's about experiences. I mean, isn't that what life's about? Is like you have this amazing experience. Yes, things came from it, but it adds to who you are. My mom always used to say, she's like, all of these kind of things, they're rubbing off the rough edges, And I said, yeah, but if enough of these things happen, I'm going to be round and just keep rolling around. That's the problem, But like you have these great experiences, and the town, I would think it'd be like, hey, that's great, but you know what? The cows still need to get fed, and the chickens still need to get fed, and this and that. It doesn't change the fact sun goes up, sun comes down.
There wasn't hardly anybody like after the fact and after it got blowed out that actually ever come up and asked about it. Like they just sort of shied away.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the biggest blow of the whole thing was, what was it, 9:00 at night? And I'm checking my email, and I have the email pop up from CBS. It says Survivor casting call.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the crap? I thought it was like some sort of scam. I'm like, check this out, Megan. And we're like reading through it, and there's like credentials, how to check it to make sure this is the real thing. And Megan's just sitting there looking at me. She's like, this crap doesn't happen to normal people. She's like, how? Why? Of all people, why you? Mom and dad was the same way. They're like, why are they calling you instead of your dad? He had the bigger role than you did.
And then my mom's like, I love Survivor, go.
Like, he has to do it. And Megan's like, no, I don't know. And we had that conversation. We agreed on it. Like, yeah, I'll go through with it and do it. I can't turn it down. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And
You're married to a superhero.
Yeah.
You're married to
there we go.
You're married to this alter ego.
Head's blowing up.
Reality man.
Turn it down a little bit.
But so that was the biggest blow, because like we were having phone calls, and I thought they explained that they was going to end up flying me out to California.
Yeah.
To sit down with other producers and interview with them, because it wasn't just a done deal. Like I could just be like, yeah, and they were putting me on the show. They still wanted me to meet everybody else. And then COVID struck. I've never heard nothing from anybody else. No call, no nothing. And I'm just like, what the crap?
Yeah, I know guys who worked on Survivor. You're probably okay not doing it.
Oh yeah. Oh, the woman I talked to was like super nice though, because she was talking with me on the phone, and she's like, hey, she's like, this is going to come across kind of weird. She's like, but I really like you, and most of everybody else in the office, they just seem to connect with you so much. If there's another show we can put you on instead of Survivor, would you be interested in that? And I'm just like, well, yeah. That way I don't have to ditch my family for so long and live out in the woods and chance looking like a psycho when I get hungry and somebody smarts off in the wrong way and the country comes out.
They shoot Dancing with the Stars over there too at CBS. It's the same. It's actually the same. It's the same group. I know the guys who do the set. So come on, can you dance?
I'll try anything, but I am not.
She's shaking her head. No.
But it doesn't stop me from dancing. That's the bad part.
Should it?
Maybe.
I
don't want to say much more about that.
So what's next? What's going on now? Like you're working at the building the resort?
Yep. And
so working on third kid?
Nope. We're done with
that was quick.
They're great. we have no complaints, but only have 2 hands. So
Yeah.
you know.
So just riding in the Talon, enjoying the life.
Just seeing whatever comes our way.
Do you have goals though? Is there something you're working toward or?
So, oh gosh, this is, sometimes you have goals that never come into fruition. This may be one. I've been on making, like, I'm really wanting to write a book.
Okay.
But Megan's gonna have to do I can like talk all day long. But they learned to me real well at Geraldine.
Is it a novel that you want to write or a nonfiction?
Honestly, how would you describe what I want to do? I don't really want to like say much about it because I'm
No, that's fair.
like snatch it.
Self-help.
Yeah, more like a self-help, because
Okay.
the way that me and Megan grew up was we lived not too far from each other, 20 minutes, but our raising was so different. I learned how to create and make money as a kid and being raised on a farm. Mm-hmm. She learned how to go to school and get a job and trade time for money. Mm. And so we've been doing different things. And I just came up with a question one day that I asked her, and it started the change of a whole mentality on how you look at money, how you look at getting money. Just one simple question changed everything. She's like, oh my gosh. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to build something around that one question. And we're trying to do it ourselves right now and put it into something so that it's documented when I write this, that it would also benefit everybody else that chose to purchase it.
So wait a minute. Am I talking to the Alabama Tony Robbins? Is that kind of what's happening here?
I don't know.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just me. I just do what I do.
That's the title right there. That's the title of the book. I'm just me.
Yeah.
A photo of him with his hands up. I'm just me, man. Well, when you write it, we'll talk again, and you can explain your philosophy.
Yeah.
But I have to put that now. It'll be, so how do we describe you in the notes? It'll be Zack Buttram, movie star, farmer, philosopher. So last question. Who's faster, Superman or Flash?
Are you talking running or flying? Because
running.
Flash.
Wow, okay, good answer. Just we got to keep you honest.
Yeah.
I won't get into the Zack Snyder movies because that's like an entire show. We could talk about like whether or not they were any good. So I have opinions. That was the most uncomfortable face I've seen you make right there.
Look, I'll go ahead. One of them I've not even watched because I don't know. I like the show. I like the TV series better.
The Flash show?
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's all of I enjoy all of those. We'll have to do a whole show just talking about comic books at some point. We'll have you come on and be like, I don't know, Morgan who? I don't know.
Yeah. You need like a whole like group of people. Just have like a big chat when you get on the comic books. That way, whole group of nerds. I
have a friend who has a comic book podcast, and he has me on in there every once in a while because they did video games, and I've done a couple video games as a voiceover artist. So he wants to talk about the video game. I'm like, honestly, I don't know anything about the game. I just did the voice. But if you want to talk about, comic books and how I feel about Wonder Woman 1984, I'm happy to talk about that for an hour.
Okay.
He's like, no, I want to talk about Life is Strange too. I'm like, I went into a booth, I recorded my voice, and that was it. Let's talk about this horrible movie.
So that's one of the things about Morgan. So he noticed the shirts that I kept wearing every day, and he's like, and I said something about Comic-Con one day. He's like, I always wanted to go. I hope I get the opportunity. And he's like, I know a lot of people. He's like, I can get you every pass as soon as you decide to head there. And then after he got thrown under the bus, I've been afraid to ask.
I've gone to a lot of the smaller ones. I've never been to Comic-Con in San Diego.
That's the one I want to go to.
That's the one. Yeah. My company might have a booth at some of the smaller ones. If you want to come out to the smaller ones, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Can't help you with Comic-Con, the big one, not yet, but I'm working on it. Doing my best.
Yeah.
But I'll make you have my word on that. Anytime we have an extra pass, if you want to fly out to one of the smaller ones, just
Oh yeah. Hey,
you're there.
I can actually afford to do that now with this job. Like, it's so weird. I'm doing the same thing, building this resort, that of all the stuff we do on the farm, except I'm getting weekly checks. So it's weird getting paid every week for the work you do. We're on the farm. You may never see a dime sometimes.
But wait, it's an ending to the project though. Eventually you guys will be done building. Then
So they have it scheduled as a 10-year project.
Holy cow, that's a big resort.
Yeah, and I started about a month after they actually started the project. And so Friday of this week, I will have the first RV sites completed, and they will go on. They're going online Friday where people can come in and camp Friday night.
Okay.
And then I'm just fixing to start steamrolling through building more and more sites. We're going to try to hit 250 pretty quick.
So if my math is correct, which it usually isn't, but your son will be driving around the same time that it's done.
Oh man.
How does that make you feel?
Pretty good, because he's got a job waiting on him if we're not done.
That's true. He lost the farm. Now he can work for that.
Yeah, he's still learning equipment and everything else. So
hey, you're going to raise him right.
I'm trying.
Dude, I had a blast. This was a lot of fun. And Megan, thank you for joining us. It was fun. Thanks for popping on camera. I know you didn't want to, but it was great. So I really appreciate this. This was fun. So, do you want people to follow you on Instagram?
Hey, if they want to, I would love it. I've got to start posting. I actually snapped some pictures the other day I was going to put on it.
You do. I'm like, I started following you today, and I'm like, dude, he's a little slow on the photos there. So what's your Instagram handle now? What is it?
Oh my gosh. Where's my phone?
I think it's Buttram Zack.
Yeah, I think it's Buttram Zack.
Okay. Well, I'll double check and I'll make sure that we tag you.
That's so bad. I don't know why. Like, to get like I put it in this term. I was like, I feel like I was almost famous.
This business is full of people who are almost famous.
Oh no! But when you're from this little bitty town like we are here, and not going out looking for it, like, I didn't just pack up all my stuff and drive out somewhere. So like, that's why I call it like almost famous here. But then there were several times they were like, you need to step up your social media. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't like to post. I love to talk, and I can talk about myself all day long if somebody's asking, but just to like do it on my own that way, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate part of the business. Like, smile and sign the autographs and take the photos, because that's what puts money in, that buys cat food.
I could do that part.
So do it.
I love people. Like, anytime you can get me in front of a crowd of people, that's my element right there.
You start your own podcast.
Well, my book went through. That was one of the things.
Write your book. It's come on, Tony Robbins, get to it. Write your book. He's a keeper. He's a keeper. All right, brother. I appreciate this. I'll let you know how it goes. We'll do this again.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you so much. And if you ever need anything, there's a way I can help. Don't hesitate to call.
I appreciate it, man. Good luck. Nice meeting you, Megan.
You too.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So once again, thank you to Zack and Megan for joining me for that interview. Really appreciate them spending some time with me. So if you're enjoying the show, if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a 5-star review. It is the best way for other people to discover the show. Please subscribe, please follow. Check out our YouTube channel where you can get a little bit more behind the scenes information. And I'm telling you, the show is going to continue to evolve, and I'm just thrilled that you're along for the ride. All right, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Hey, everybody. Have you checked out the VikingDogStore.com yet? The Viking Dog Store offers motivational shirts in a variety of styles, designs, and colors, and a portion of the proceeds of each sale are donated to wolf rescue organizations. That's right, you can get an amazing shirt and also help save the wolves. What's more, the Viking Dog Store also has a special line of wolf-related shirts that provide 100% of their proceeds to wolf rescue. That's right, 100%. You can choose from a number of designs including Save the Wolves, Leader of the Pack, or simply I Love Wolves. And every penny of profit from these shirts will be donated directly to Wolf Rescue. So visit thevikingdogstore.com and get your shirts today. Perfect for the gym or just wearing on a daily basis, there are various styles and colors for men, women, and even kids. Thevikingdogstore.com. Motivate your workout and help us help save these amazing animals. Thevikingdogstore.com. Check it out today.
For the highways of America, which for so many years were an assortment of as many designs and pavements as there were states, are now becoming one big road that can take you anywhere faster, safer, and more directly than ever before. What is this big road? Where is it going? How much has been built? How much is yet to come? These are questions we ask. Certainly traveling the entire system would be a memorable experience, but few of us have the time for such a trip.
All rights reserved. Viking Dog 2021.